Hello and welcome to another edition of You in 2042, The Future of Work. Joining me today is Caryn Robinson.
Thank you for welcoming me to the show. So my name is Caryn Robinson. I am currently a transformation partner. So in my organization, I work with teams as they are looking to evolve the way they work as a team and in terms of how they accomplish their results. Prior to that, I was actually an organizational effectiveness manager working in the space of leadership, learning, and development in a more traditional sense of learning and training, whereas this is more of a team-based role.
With that experience in mind, what changes do you think the next 20 years may bring to the workforce?
As I look out into the future, I think about just the evolution of just rapid. The world is changing constantly. There's so much unpredictability about what's happening. And I see that playing out in workplaces where learning needs to happen as part of the role and as part of the job. We're seeing more generalist type of roles coming in where people are wearing multiple hats and really having resources be able to move fluidly from one place of need to another. And so with that comes that really rapid learning cycles, being part of the real world, thinking about experiments, trying discovery. I see learning kind of more in smaller, more self-directed and smaller pieces where people get the opportunity to take something on and experiment with it. Have you heard of the 3E model of development? It really is composed of three elements. And one is education. So it's reading articles, going to classroom, doing training. But really where we see the greatest impact from a learning perspective is that experience piece. So building in real-time experiences that allow a person to be able to try out particular skills. And of course, you have it also anchored with a mentor or a coach. And so there's a real three parts to a person's development, but we do see that experience piece as having the biggest impact on adult learners.
It makes so much sense, especially when you frame it against the future trends of this generalist role and with people needing to rapidly learn because they are in roles that are more general, that really ups the need for this self-directed experimental type of experiences. I like that insight a lot. So with that in mind, what skills do you think that people will need in order to be future ready?
When I think about skills, I think about mindsets and, really starting with a mindset of growth. And you may not know something, but when you have it framed as, I don't know this yet, that really is very expansive in terms of opening up to learning. So that's one area of a mindset. And then a second mindset maybe around enabling. So how do people enable their own learning? How do they enable each other's learning? Two mindsets. I could probably go on about them, but I know you asked about specific skills. So when I think about skills, I think about strategic thinking. I think about self-reflection. So the ability to have self-awareness and be open, being able to be able to give feedback and ask for feedback, being able to do something when someone is giving you feedback. I think about other skills about adaptability and vulnerability. We don't often talk about vulnerability in the workplace, but to be able to actually share with your colleagues what your development is and what you're working on, I think that that's a really key enabler to help and allow people to develop. And then, of course, curiosity. I mean, having a curious mind about what is possible. What do I know to be true today, but what is possible and what become available to me for tomorrow?
Because with this future world of more fluid roles, starting off with that base of a growth mindset and enabling others and yourself to learn really enables you to add on top the strategic thinking, self-reflection, which no computer can ever replace in the future. And that ability to be vulnerable with curiosity and then asking for feedback. Those go hand in hand because those really do create that support that one needs to be able to experiment and learn. That's a nice tie-in for very practical skills. With these skills in mind, what do you think talent development leaders can do to support this, or what can talent development do to help?
I think the one thing that doesn't change from a talent development perspective is connecting with the business outcomes. What is needed? Where is the space that we need people to move towards? So thinking strategically about future skills, and so planning for tomorrow. I think it's also connecting with your business groups and really trying to sense what's going on in the organization and making connections and seeing the bigger picture. So as a talent development is having that systems thinking enterprise mindset in mind and going beyond the current ask from the business.
So it's really about ensuring that these skills that we've spoken to are connected to the business outcomes. We're not just developing these skills for the sake of developing these future skills. They're connected to the bigger picture, and having that systems thinking enterprise mindset enables talent development leaders to be able to guide the organization with the right skills in place. That's a neat insight. And I like your thought as well about being able to strategically plan for those future. It links back to what you said earlier about roles that allow you to experiment and to discover and to actually gain that experience. It sounds like these are things we need to plan for now to really set us up, because 20 years then it becomes really, really close.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much for these really interesting insights. I love these themes of the generalist role and having hence the need to quickly adapt and try on new skills and learn them, which supports this bigger mindset. And then learning leaders can really start now in order to foster those skills today. Thank you so much for your time. This is fantastic.
Thanks, Danielle.